Hey guys, thanks for watching the first part of our house tours in Otaku. We're going to take a little break from house tour mania. As a lot of you have heard, the JLPT has been canceled in a lot of countries. It's still going on in Japan, but there is another very less well-known Japanese language test called the JPT, the Japanese Proficiency Test, that I took a week ago. I don't have a JLPT score. I've never passed a JLPT. And it's really hard to get a job when you have nothing, when you have no like shikaku or shomeisho that you can speak Japanese. They just will either not look at your resume or automatically hire someone else who does. So I took this mainly because I'm gonna get a score no matter what. The scoring is different, we'll get back into that later, but I will get a score so I can have A level, some sort of Japanese language proficiency. That's why I took the test. So we'll get into all the differences in a minute. I just want to give some basic info about the JPT. On paper, it's very similar. The questions are very similar. The types of questions, reading, listening, kanji, all those questions, all your favorite questions from the JLPT are going to be making an appearance in the JPT.
Reprise.
Yeah. The main difference between the JLPT and the JPT is the time that you have to take the test and the availability. It is only available in Japan, China, Vietnam, Thailand, South Korea, and Indonesia at the time of filming of this video. More sites may be added later. In Japan, the test is only available in Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya. I took the test in Tokyo in Nagatacho. I believe there's only one test site in Tokyo, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Also, the application process is a little bit different. The JLPT has either mail-in or online application. For the JPT, you can only do it through an app, and you have to pay through Konbini Pay. It's the only way you can pay for it, which had its own challenges, but I figured it out eventually. I had a little bit of a problem. I went to my local 7-Eleven, and they were like, we don't know how to do it. I went back when the manager was there. He didn't know how to do it. I hit up there's 3 konbinis in our basic area, and I had to go to the farthest one from our house before someone figured out how to do this. People don't exactly know how to do this payment method, even though it says you can do it at any konbini, 7-Eleven, Family Mart, Lawson. You have to register via app, which is great. I think it's great that there's a phone app for it. It's also more frequently than the JLPT. I think the JPT is held about once every month. Might not be like 30 days, but there's probably like one in September, one in November, that sort of idea. That is why I picked it, because the next JLPT is not until December, and I will not get my results until probably the middle of January. The reason why that's important to note is because job hunting starts in April. The JLPT in December is really the only one you can take that will get you a JLPT score in time for job searching in April, when a lot of Japanese companies will be hiring. If you get your score by January, you can start applying and then doing all of the pre-job hunting activities you need. But the JPT is once every month, and you get your results within 2 weeks. It's a lot faster. If you could take one in February and get your results. Now, I don't really know how employers in Japan feel about the JPT, to be honest with you. I don't have my results yet, so I couldn't tell you, but it is an option right now, especially with the pandemic. How the test is scored is different. It's more like, if you're European, you probably are familiar with the TOEIC or TOEFL. If you're American, you're probably more familiar with the SAT. You get a score, and the higher your score, the better you did, like most tests. It's not like the JLPT where there's levels. If you don't pass, you're SOL. The real difference is the experience you have taking the test. On paper, they look very similar. Even the practice questions on the website, you're like, oh yeah, I've taken the JLPT before. These are really familiar. The first big difference is you start with the listening section. In the listening section for the JPT, there are 100 questions in 50 minutes. If you compare that to the JLPT, the N2 level, there are about 50 questions in the same 50-minute time frame. It is very fast. You do not have time to think. Whatever you think the answer is first, you better mark your score, because you're not going to have time to think about it. The next question is going to start. For the longer conversation-based questions, you cannot wait until the question is over to read the answers. You will not have time to answer the questions, or at least I didn't. I had to read the questions while I was listening, and I was not prepared for that. Especially when it first started. What do I do? What am I supposed to do here? Like, and there's also more for the JLPT. For the longer questions towards the end, you're going to have 1 or 2 questions for a long paragraph. And there's also usually a form, like there's kind of like a style. For the JPT, there are 4 questions. Now, the good thing about it is the questions are in order. Let's say question that the conversation covers questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first question is going to be the first thing that happens. The second question is going to be second in order. The third is going to be third or fourth. It may not be in the exact order, but it's going to go in orders 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to read the questions, and you need to decide while the passage is being read, or you do not have time. Or at least I didn't. You're going to have short to long conversations, and you're going to pick the answer. There's going to be questions where there is an answer provided, and other times where you have to listen to the options for the answer. It's going to say, these are your options A, B, C, D. And then there's also questions where there's going to be a very short conversation, and you have to pick the right response. Very familiar to JLPT. The only real part that threw me for the loop was the long conversations at the end. I was not ready for that. And like the speed. Again, you will not have time to think. If God forbid the answer is number 4, you are not going to be able to circle in number 4 before the next question starts. I felt the listening section was kind of like a marathon. I was like, oh my God, this keeps going so fast. Like, it was like, oh, can I even do this? Like, I wanted to give up, really. I was like, this is terrible. And when it was over, I was like, whew. So, what do you think? There's a break? There's no break. There's no break in between the listening and the reading sections. You go straight in. They're like, okay, you start the next one. You turn the page in the testing booklet, and you start. Now, the reading section is also very fast. It's 50 minutes and 100 questions. JLPT N2, I believe, is 1 hour and 45 minutes for about 80 questions. You have more questions in less time, almost half as much time. This is a sprint. You just have to go with your gut instinct. There's no thinking. You should not cross answers off. If you do not know an answer, either guess or just move on, because it is too fast. I just filled in C for 22 questions at the end. I had no time. I only got through 78 of the 100 questions because I was not ready for the speed I needed to complete the test. I probably could have done better, honestly, because the questions do go from easy to hard in all of the sections. So they start easy and they get harder. Put it in JLPT terms, you're gonna go from like, I don't know, N4, N3 level up to N1 level questions. For the reading section, I barely got through the easy passages because I didn't have time. The reading section is very similar to the JLPT. You're gonna have kanji yomikata, or pick the right kanji from yomikata. You're gonna say which is the right answer, which is the best answer, those kind of questions. Like what is the best usage of a specific word, or what word is used the same way in the example sentence as below. The only one that's really different from the JLPT is they say which one of these is wrong. There's 4 underlined words, and they're going to say which one of these is wrong in this sentence, which one of these does not belong. And there's 4 blanks, and then you have 4 choices to put the blanks in. You have to select the correct. You kind of have to put them all in order and then select which goes in, I don't know, it's part number 3 or whatever the underlined part is. But those are absent. But other than that, everything's the same. The reading section is just passages, and there's 3 or 4 questions per passage. Now, I didn't get very far, but it looks very similar to the JLPT. If I took it again, what would I do? What advice would I give someone? I would just be fast. Be very fast. Be ready to feel rushed, and be ready to guess. Time management is key. You do have to keep a really close eye on that watch. Now, they did say to bring a watch, and there wouldn't be a clock in the test room, but there was in mine for whatever reason. They had a clock, which was nice. Go really fast, especially during the reading. Don't get caught up if you don't know something, just skip it or guess. I didn't spend that much effort trying to find practice tests. Like, I didn't Google it. I looked on Amazon. There is a book of JPT tests, but it was out of stock. I tried a little. Maybe there's some practice tests available if you Google it, but I didn't even get that far, to be honest with you. When I did the JLPT, doing practice tests, I think really helped me. I had a strategy, especially for the reading section. For the N2, I never finished an entire reading section. There are always reading passages I couldn't get through. I knew which part of the test I did better on, and I spent more time on those because I knew I would get points. So I had like a plan or a strategy. There was no plan for the JPT. I just walked in there. But one could develop a strategy if you wanted to. It's always better to have experience and to know what to expect. You can have a strategy or not, but if you know you're going to be rushed, if you know that there's certain questions that you're better at and you want to focus on those, you should do that, because no one says you have to do the test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can skip around, you can do whatever you want. If there are practice tests available in the future, I would highly recommend you use them. Do not just walk in. Especially if your Japanese level, if you're kind of in the middle, if you're like a JLPT, like N3, N2 level, there's going to be questions that you do not know. Take practice tests and figure out, the best strategy for you. So should you take the test? If you're looking for a job, or if you're applying to some sort of school before February, I would probably take this test. It could help you out. I don't know if after the JLPT comes back, if it's really going to be worth it. I know that some Semongakko here in Japan accept it. I don't really know how well it's accepted in the workforce at this point. The shelf life for this, especially for people looking for jobs, is probably not going to last beyond the next time the JLPT results are out. That's my personal opinion. One last thing, the JPT in Japan is 6,600 yen. The JLPT is 5,500 yen. It's about $10 apart USD. That you get your results in 2 weeks, as opposed to the JLPT, which is about a month and a half to 2 months. There you go, guys. I took the JPT. Are you gonna take it? Are you gonna have fun like me? It's a rough experience, I'm not gonna lie. I had a really bad feeling. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck, run over, slapped in the face. There's just a lot of painful memories that I hope to forget soon. There you go. There's the JPT, the alternate to the JLPT. But in case you guys were curious, maybe the JLPT is canceled in your country and the JPT is still going on. I don't know. It's an option. Look into it. That's what I did. That's why I took it, because the JLPT had been canceled this summer and I need something that says I can speak Japanese, or at least I hope that will help in my job search. I hope you guys found this video interesting, informational. Comment below and let me know if you're going to take the JPT or not. We are going to be continuing with our house tour themed video series. The next neighborhood we're going to visit is Nippori, so check that out too. So yeah, we'll see you guys in Nippori. Bye-bye. Hey guys, how are you doing? I'm just editing the video. This is totally not a prop and I'm actually editing. There's not a blank screen behind here, so don't worry. We are in the editing process of the video, as you can see, hard at work. But the video looked kind of like sad and disheartening, and I did actually feel that way. However, I did get my result back and I actually did a lot better than I thought. I got a 530 on the test out of 990, which sounds kind of bad, but it is in the N2 range according to the website. I think the N2 range is 525 to 660. So I barely made it, but I made it in, which is good. I feel it makes me feel better. There's about a month to the JLPT right now, so it makes me feel better that walking into a test with absolutely no experience, no idea what to expect, just kind of like winging it. I did pretty well. I did want to add one other thing. I found out afterwards that if you want an actual score report, you have to pay for it. You don't get one for free. There are only 1,100 yen, but I'm kind of slightly salty that you have to pay for one score report. I feel like they should throw in one, but you know, that's just me. That would bring the total cost to 7,700 yen for a score report, and the tests are $77. It's not that expensive, but it's just kind of like, why? And now I have to figure out how to pay at the konbini again, which is the thing I'm most worried about. Because that was a journey. but we did it. Just wanted to kind of check in with you guys and let you guys know the results so I don't end on a sad, depressed note. You guys should feel happy. And I feel better now too. I was kind of upset. I was like, oh god, that was horrible. Just wanted to let you guys know the two updates, especially the score reporting thing, because To me, that's just too much. I hope you guys liked the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye. I'm going back to work.
Totally editing.
Editing.